Thank you for making the time to join us. We know your time is precious as teachers, and we are always looking forward to meeting with you every time we have one of these sessions. AGEC is live again, and we are back at it. So whether you're joining us as a teacher today, as a school leader, or someone passionate about entrepreneurship, or just young people in general, you're in the right place. Today is all about introducing you to the Alan Gray Entrepreneurship Challenge for 2026, what we have to offer your learners this year, and how it can be meaningfully integrated into your classrooms as well as the school communities. But before we do dive in, we just want to set a few quick house rules just so you are able to then understand how the session is going to work. But please feel free to use the chat throughout the session and ask questions from there in order to engage with us in our team. And we'll be active in the chat. We'll keep flagging any key sort of areas that come up in there or recurring questions, and we'll also be able to address those during the live Q&A at the end of the session. But this is also meant to be a pretty interactive session, energizing and practical, so please don't be shy. But first things first, welcome. And just to start us off, you don't have to have your cameras or microphones on at this particular point. Please try to keep your microphones and cameras off for the remainder of the session until the end when we do open up for Q&A. And then again, be present, engage with us, and use the chat. And then please take one action at a time as you leave, especially when it comes to those registration steps and getting involved. But without further ado, we're going to get started. The next slides. Okay, so what you're actually here for today, you are here to learn about AGEC in a fun and practical way. But before we go into that, I am just going to pause right here. It's pretty exciting, so we can see what we actually have in store today. But before we head there, my name is Aretha Mashangu. I am the project coordinator for the Alan Gray Entrepreneurship Challenge team. And I am joined today with my fabulous team that we have here before us. I hope everybody is on camera and can give everybody a quick wave during the session. This is going to be the AGEC team that's going to be addressing you today and walking you through the steps of what you need to know, how you can get involved, and the tools available to you for this year. And so without further ado, I am just going to talk about what to expect. We are going to speak about what AGEC is all about, what your learners will actually experience this year. Some of you have joined AGEC a few years back, and it continues to evolve and change in each year. And so you will be able to see what changes to expect in this year, how to actually get started. The processes are a lot quicker and easier for your students. So we want you to feel confident and comfortable when you're actually speaking to these points in your classrooms, so it's easy to onboard your learners. And then we'll speak about what support tools are in your arsenal for this year. And I am going to hand over to Caleb, who's going to walk you through AGEC, our journey, why it's important for your involvement. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. It's always nice to have you at this part of the day. They normally call it the drive time, but it's exciting that you all be able to come and listen to what we are presenting in terms of AGEC. So my name has already been mentioned. I am Caleb Dlamini and working in the foundation. Fortunately for you, I'm also a former teacher, so I know what to be in a class. But maybe the basic thing is to think about what is this AGEC? Maybe some of you have already known it for over time, but it is an Alan Gray Entrepreneurship Challenge. So in other words, this is one way that we actually use in the foundation to say, how can we make AGEC actually accessible to everyone? That is entrepreneurship thinking. How can we incite those thinkers out there by thinking more entrepreneurially? We know more or less in terms of the foundation, we've got quite a few programs, but this one, it's different because what it does, it then brings these entrepreneurship thinking to everyone, irrespective of subjects, what you are taking in school, and irrespective of how you are performing, because we know you are being graded in terms of different levels, whether your average it's level 2, level 3, level 1, or level 7. This is one way of actually trying to make everyone access it. So it uses quite a lot of different practical interactive games that we actually use. The one that we have currently is the online game, but obviously we're going to talk about a little bit more later, the ones that are not only online. We also have some paper ones. But critically, the game one is always loved by kids. You see a less than a year old child, when you give that child a phone, immediately what that child is looking for is a game. And they already know how the icon looks like. And if they try and click on this game and it doesn't work, they know very well that the mother or father or sister or cousin has not put data in there, and they will demand to make it work. So in other words, already in their minds, there is this ability to actually learn. So AGEC is about that. How then can we build these skills a little bit further? So then, why does it have to matter that much that actually our kids or the kids that you have in your class actually use this game to actually inject this entrepreneurial thinking? We know very well currently that in terms of youth unemployment in South Africa specifically, we are sitting at over between 55 and 60%. So which means it's very high. So when you sit in your class and you look at your students, let's say they are 50, if you are you have a big class, you must know that over 60% of those kids actually not going to get a job. So what does it mean? It means the alternative for them to actually get employed is very, very less. So what is the other alternative then? That's where then entrepreneurship sort of like comes in to say, maybe they should not look for careers where they are going to find jobs. Maybe it's time that they create their own entities that is going to create jobs. It doesn't matter how small it is, because currently we always think about jobs as being high earning or high paying jobs. But the important thing about entrepreneurship is we are getting them an opportunity to actually create some sort of income generating. That's very critical. How can they create those small income base, which they can then grow into something different? So we've been running this for the past 10 years in the foundation, and we have invited even other countries now to play, which is the Eswatini, Botswana, and Namibia. We call them EBN. So this game now is exposed to all these other countries. And this is to create this kind of confidence to them to say, you can actually do it, because as you're going to learn more as we go through, you will see that in this game, they can actually become their own CEOs immediately, because this is something that they can create on their own. It doesn't matter whether you are selling sweets, you are selling burgers, you are selling whatever little wares that you have. But the important thing is the ability actually that you have to create employment. Then in the 10 years, what kind of stories can we give you? This means that we're just giving you examples. This is just a snippet of these three that you can see on your screen. These are some of the gamers that we have had over time. When you look at the lady on your left, hopefully it's also on your left in your screen, or Oluwad. It's a little bit Adayemi. Let me just miss Adayemi, which makes it easier. Otherwise, a long name I'm struggling to pronounce it. I am Swati, so some of the clicks I'm not gonna get it right. She comes from rural Limpopo. She won in 2023. And her story is very interesting. She came up with an idea on how to be inclusive in terms of her community, because realized that those who are living with disability are not really inclusive. For instance, someone who is blind, they don't have the dogs like those who are in towns, but even the sticks they can't afford. What kind of an app that she can actually create for them so that they can be able to recognize what is happening around them? That was the idea that she actually pitched and won. And fortunately, For her, when she applied to the foundation, she was able to be accepted and she became part of our university program. She is on her third year this year. Next year, she's graduating. Already, she's still working on her idea because she wants some money through this competition. The same happened to the guy in the middle. Unfortunately, he could not get into the program, but the idea that he actually had, he is still continuing to actually explore it now that is in university. And in no time, you will see it in much more bigger space than you will think of because he was introduced into the game. The third one, fortunately for him, he was able to apply and get accepted into a university program. But this is just an example. This is not everyone because the game is played by close to like last year over 40,000 people that actually played. The important thing is what is it planting in their minds to think entrepreneurially because they've been exposed. The problem we have in our country is in our countries, it's exposure. How do we expose our kids? This webinar today is to make you, as you are facing these kids, how do you bring them to that exposure for them to actually play this game and start thinking entrepreneurially from where on? Because most of these kids, once they play, they don't look back. Okay, I'll hand over to the next speaker, Papalo.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paolo Figlin, and I am the AGC officer. Excited to talk to you all. So AGC, as my colleague touched on now, is not just the high school game, as well as not just the business pitch challenge. We have a whole suite of gaming. We'll have a whole gaming suite. So as mentioned, we have the high school game. This year it's called Fast Food Frenzy, the next gen. And then we've got the business pitch challenge where learners are able to pitch ideas and they go through a couple of rounds, and then the top three are invited to our annual summit, normally hosted in October, and they also have the opportunity to win prizes. And then we also have Startup Shuffle. Startup Shuffle is our print to play model. We understand not everyone has access, and the reason for creating the game was to spark entrepreneurial thinking. And then we have gaming quiz as well. Gaming quiz are a great tool for the learners to increase their scores in the high school game Fast Food Frenzy. So last year's last year learners were able to earn up to 40,000 points, and even this year 40,000 points, which is added to the leaderboard score. And then we have Startup Shuffle Lite. Startup Shuffle Lite addresses access, so it's just like a Startup Shuffle, but just a light version. Only requires 4 pages that are printed back to back, but my colleague will also touch on that. And then we have business clubs, which are entrepreneurial gaming board games that are meant to also spark entrepreneurship, and then available to learners as well as teachers on our website and in the gaming hub are lesson plans for various subjects such as EMS, ALO, and maths across all the grades. So yeah, that is our entire gaming suite. And then as mentioned, so this year our competition period started on the 15th of April, ending on the 31st of July. So the high school game, this year's theme is still the same as last year, based around fast food and a retail business. And this year learners are able to name their own businesses. And then the hope on that is they compete nationwide. Each country, so South Africa, Eswatini, Botswana, and Namibia, all compete separately, and and all will get their own prizes. And then, as I mentioned, the quests. Quests are important. It's important for the learners to take part in the quests to improve their high school game scores. One learner last year just missed out because they forgot to do one quest. So we do encourage learners to do the quests. They are interactive. There's a learning component to them. And then the business pitch challenge, we do help the learners once they've pitched the ideas. They go through coaching, but I will touch on that just now. The next slides. So this year's business pitch challenge, we split it up into two. So it's I'll just touch on the learners pitch. So this year they've got two themes, and the learners have to pick one theme. So theme number one is soil to sale, and this touches on sustainable agriculture, agricultural innovation. So learners interested in exploring environmental and agricultural solutions should pick this theme. And then theme number two is young, smart, and wealthy. So this touched on financial literacy and understanding how to solve money and financial education challenges. Yeah, just so we encourage them to submit their pitches on the Gaming Hub. And then for the first time ever, we have introduced a teacher's business competition. We have had difficulty in terms of in terms of submissions. So please go to the competitions our website, and in the prizes tab, you'll see, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the teachers business pitch challenge, and you'll find the instructions how to submit your pitch. So this year's theme for the teachers pitch is innovation teaching. So we'd like to find out how teachers innovate in their classroom, different methods and how they teach, and we'd love to hear the ideas. And then, as well as the second theme is equal parts, making education accessible everywhere. So for each theme, there will be winners. So in South Africa, we're going to have top one winner for each theme, and then in EBN, we're going to have two winners per theme. Yeah. So in the business pitch challenge, the idea is generally just for once we've picked our top 10, they go through preliminary rounds. So they develop the ideas, and then they submit. So sorry, submitting the idea, they would develop the ideas and then submit their pitches online on the Gaming Hub, and then the top entries progress into our preliminary rounds. And then once we've selected our top three, they're invited to pitch live at our summit, where judges will ask them questions, and the top three are announced on the night, and they can win amazing prizes, which my colleagues will touch on later. Yeah, thank you. Aretha?
Thank you, Pabs. Okay, so I am going to be taking us through the high school game, which is pretty much the star pupil of the Alan Gray Entrepreneurship Challenge. It's what normally brings people to participate and the most recognized of all of our offerings. And it is the challenge that you guys can keep up with in terms of making sure that you are keeping up with the leaderboard. And that would be the high school game. Like my colleagues mentioned, that we are still running a similar game to what we did last year. But the difference now is that the Fast Food Frenzy game has taken on a completely different tone, as it is now a sort of family-run business. So even in the way that learners are interacting with the sort of chats that are taking place on there and the elements that are taking place on there, is to really make sure that there is that real element feel of how you actually run a business. And if you are running a business with your family members or your friends, what that would actually look like. So we went from Fast Food Frenzy to Fast Food Frenzy, the next gen, where we're featuring real stories, real entrepreneurs, the challenges that people actually face on a day-to-day once they actually become real entrepreneurs, making quick decisions inside the game as well, because it really is about the decision making and the impact that those decisions actually make within the game itself. And then obviously the fun part about this is that we are playing to win. Okay, so we're competing. Learners are actually learning more about entrepreneurship and having a first-hand experience through this 2D game, where they are actually learning what it actually takes to run a business in the real world. How they're actually going to rank up on the leaderboard ranks, and what they can do to actually earn more points. And so I am going to walk us through what those areas are. But before I do, we're just going to watch a quick video that shows you what to pretty much expect in the high school game tutorial for 2026. So sit back, it's a quick 2-minute video, and enjoy, and I'll be back soon.
Welcome to this year's high school game. Your goal is to become the ultimate entrepreneur, building the most successful business possible to secure your future and inspire your community. Your day-to-day business is divided into 3 main areas: The first thing you'll need to do in a new game is launch your first product. Each product has a highlighted strength. This informs the business strategy you'll be using, so choose carefully. You can also adjust the product selling price. Just remember that customers are less likely to buy when prices are higher. Tap the Launch Product button to add the product to your stock. After that, you can tap on the product in your shop view whenever you want to change something. Options like restocking or discontinuing will appear in a panel. The second important part of your business is your staff. Hiring more staff helps you serve more customers. Remember, staff are people just like you, so keep them happy. Tap on the staff member in the shop view to keep track of their mood, pay their salary, or invest in their training. Last but not least, customers are key to your business. There are 3 main ways of attracting them. The simplest way is through product demand. Launching a new product will bring in new customers for that product. To attract more customers, you will need to build your reputation and invest in marketing. Your reputation is affected by almost everything you do in the game. Marketing focuses on buying adverts to attract more customers. In summary, running a basic business means launching products, managing staff, building your reputation, and attracting customers. The rest is up to you to master.
Okay, so that is the new and improved high school game, Fast Food Frenzy, the next gen edition. As you can see, if you joined us last year, there are actually a few changes that have actually been made to the game that make it more interesting for returning learners so that they are still challenged when they are participating within the game itself. One of those elements is something that Pablo mentioned with the fact that they are going to have the ability to name their business for the first time ever inside the game. This allows for them to have a bit more ownership in something that they actually are building in the digital world as they manage their digital business on the Fast Food Frenzy game. And we will see that they are also developing skills such as problem solving, financial literacy inside the game, as they'll be managing their own budgets as they make their revenue. They watch how they actually are spending their money, how much they're actually paying towards salaries. They will be able to hire and fire people freely this time around as well, but there are a few more elements involved with regards to how that's going to impact their business decision making. They are going to be able to also choose specific products in product ranges as opposed to product categories now, so that they do understand the impact of their own decisions as they're making them inside the game. So decision making is a really big one this year. And then cultivating their entrepreneurial mindset as they play the game. How creative can they get? How can they hack the game, so to speak, so that they get ahead? Remember, the thing about the game is that they can play as many times as possible to achieve the highest score that they can. And so the game saves their highest score as opposed to their latest score. So we always try to encourage learners to play the game as many times as possible. And once they actually are at the end of gameplay, the display will pop up and it will show them that this is the highest score that they've actually been able to achieve within the game itself. And from there, they'll also be able to then see what the leaderboard is actually looking like, where they're faring with regards to where their peers are on the leaderboard versus where they are. As teachers, you're also able to have access to the leaderboard, where you are also able to track the progression of learners as they're actually playing the game. You are able to actually filter the leaderboard, so you can see based on your region, based on your school, you can rank according to your region, where you can actually see how your learners are faring within the region itself. And then you can filter the leaderboard according to your school and the grades as well. So you can actually see how your learners are faring amongst themselves within your schools. And yeah, start some competitions there as well. Keep the energy alive, keep them them interested in the game as they continue to play. They have all the way to the end of July to continue to improve their scoring. We have been surprised by the amount of scores, the high scores that we're actually seeing already at this rate, now that the game is actually live. So please continue to encourage them to keep playing the game until they improve their odds of getting to the top of that leaderboard. And then they can also download their certificates that are actually available to them once they are actually done playing the game. So once a full round is done and the score is revealed to the learner, they are then able to visit their profile and be able to select their certificate and download it, so that they do have that proof of participation, but also that feeling of achievement, because they have achieved something great by actually running an online store of their own. And with that, we also encourage that learners can also download the app as well. So I say learners, but also teachers can sometimes also want to play the game, can play the game as a general player sometimes. And you are also able to then download the game by installing the app and making sure that it is one of the apps that you have available on your phones. Something to note with regards to that is that the game is actually not available on any app stores at present. For you to be able to download the game onto your device, you will need to make sure that you are actually logged onto the gaming hub, and then you can download the game from there. But yeah, very exciting things. Super excited to see the results of this year, and excited to see how your learners are going to grow on the leaderboard. And with regards to that and how they can improve their scoring, we have game quests available this year as well. And so this is an additional add-on to what we have for the high school game. The importance of these miniature challenges is to basically challenge learners further, so that we can see that they put their entrepreneurial knowledge and skills to the truest of tests. So outside of what they are doing within the actual game itself, you want to see that the learning is actually taking place. And the best way for us to see that that is also happening is through these mini challenges, which we call game quests, that are available on the gaming hub. And these are short challenges that enforce the skills that we were speaking about, such as budgeting or pitching or decision making and strategizing. That's also required within the real world, but also inside the digital world that they are playing within as well. And so quests are an added after gameplay. Quest points are actually added outside of gameplay. And so this is not something that's going to be evident right away when your learners are playing. Please tell them not to fret, because what we saw last year was that a few learners had felt that it may be pointless to actually participate in quests because their ranking on the leaderboard remains the same. But that is not the case. It does remain the same on the leaderboard. However, in the back end, we are actually noting these game quest points, and they will be tallied up to the final score once the game is closed, and they do add on significantly to the game. As Pablo said, a few learners had actually not participated in game quests and had the impression that they were actually sitting high up on the leaderboard and were participating really well and probably had high chances of winning when the game was actually over. But what ended up happening was learners who actually took the secret advantage, which is what you see here. It is kind of a secret tool, secret advantage, even though we do share with your learners, we share with you guys that this is actually available in order for them to propel themselves up on the leaderboard higher. However, some learners did miss this point and actually ended up not having the opportunity to even feature within the top 10 on the leaderboard after quest scores were added to those high school game scores as well. So please remember to encourage your learners to participate in game quests. But just speaking on what they are, we have reputation relay. So this is where learners are actually learning how to analyze real company ethical failures and then creating solutions to the issues that they've actually identified. And then we have the tech and automation quest, and this is basically where learners are learning tech-based solutions. And then we have the price right or pay the price. And so it's, as it sounds, really making sure that their pricing is right and their pricing is smart so that they are able to see profits. Because another thing we see being experienced inside the game is that sometimes learners pop into the game but don't actually change the pricing of the products that they're selling within the game itself, and that has an impact on how the game is actually going to go, what they're going to see with regards to growth within their own business. And so encourage your learners to make sure that as soon as the game is actually started on their end, they're supposed to immediately set the price for their products. And you did see that scale inside the video where it actually shows you how they are able to then move between scores in order to either increase their scoring or decrease their scoring based on the feedback that they would be seeing within the game itself. And that would be on display on their business and marketing sort of, report. And so they'll be able to actually see that and be able to track how customers are reacting to their businesses, are reacting to their prices and their products, and adjust accordingly. And then they've got these additional quests that challenge them further to see that understanding is actually taking place, while they earn additional points in order to feature even higher on the leaderboard at the end of gameplay. Then the fourth quest that we have in store would be the podcast business model. So this is a newer concept where we are encouraging learners to step outside of their comfort zone and actually be able to explore a podcast that speaks about business concepts and revenue streams, costings, profit potential, etc. And then actually see how it is that they can position such conversation based off of the things that they're actually learning within the game, within the quests, within the classrooms as well. And we know some of you are also running business clubs, and Candice will speak to that in a bit. But yeah, those are the areas in which all of these quests also really add value and add more understanding into breaking down what's actually taking place within the game for the learners to take into the real world as well. And then if we go to the next slide, just to speak on how registration is actually going to be taking place for this year. Registration has been incredibly simplified. So we have really tried to simplify the registration phase. Some of you have been with us for a while. I'm seeing the chat pop up there. A few names are coming up that are quite familiar and have been for some years. But yes, so you've been with us for some while, and some of you may actually be familiar with our registration process. We have simplified this so that your learners are able to then access the game a lot easier without going through the process of verifying their profiles. So first, you would select your user profile, and this goes for both learner and teachers. And then secondly, you would then be asked to add your contact number or your email address. This is so we're able to keep track of you, but also be able to identify you as an individual, unique user. This is also something that we use in terms of verifying our users so that we know that the learners that are participating are actually learners, so that we're also able to reach their teachers to verify them, be able to reach out for prizes, etc. So adding that contact information is critical, and making sure that it is correctly captured is critical. At this particular point, if your learners are actually using their school email addresses to register on the Gaming Hub, we encourage that you also make sure to check in with your tech team at the school so that there is no restriction or firewall against external communications coming in, because we also do send out emails to learners so that they're able to then see what further updates are actually taking place as the year goes, what else that they need to note, or what other opportunities are actually coming up within AGEC for them to participate in. So please make sure that this is something that is also taken care of on the tech side, so we are able to reach them. Another one of these things is that learners might miss out on the opportunity to be invited to the year-end ceremony, which is the prize giving ceremony, and we will speak to that in just a bit. But if we don't have the correct information to reach them, then we are not able to allocate their prices correctly, nor are we able to then reach out to invite them or their teachers to the summit. So you want to make sure that that is corrected and we are able to reach you and your learners. And then you can select your school on the drop-down list. So with that, if your school is actually not available at all on the drop-down list and you're wondering, how can I participate, or do they not allow my school? Yes, we do. Everyone is welcome. The more, the merrier. If your school is actually not available on the school drop-down list, you can simply email us at info@theentrepreneurshipchallenge.com, and we will add it into the chat. I'll just ask one of my colleagues to just pop that into the chat. However, it is also on display on these slides throughout, so you are able to then see where you can visit us on the website. That's where the registration will actually be taking place. And then where you can reach us in terms of if you've got any queries, which is info@theentrepreneurshipchallenge.com. That's the same as the website. And you are able to also see where you can reach us on WhatsApp. And we've made it easier for you to be able to contact us. So if you're not an email person and you would rather WhatsApp us, we have our WhatsApp number on display, and you are more than welcome to actually WhatsApp us, and we'll be able to help you with any issues that you have, especially with regards to registration and onboarding your learners. But yeah, you can actually just send us an email and say, we're struggling to add our school, and send us your school name and your school province, and we'll be able to add that on for you. We also have the chat available from inside the Gaming Hub as well as on the website. So you are able to use the chat feature to also be able to flag these instances as well. And then, like I said, no verification is actually required at this particular stage. So your learners are not going to have the error where they have to then go back into their email addresses to then fetch the verification code email and verify, then go back and log into their accounts. We've done away with that particular process. It was very tedious for a lot of learners and teachers, and we found a lot of our learners were getting stuck due to using school email accounts, and they're not able to actually even receive that verification email. So we really just want to make sure that our learners have access to the tools that we are offering them as well. So yeah, and then with the registration requirements, you only need a few things, which are a device to register on. So that's either a laptop device, a desktop device, tablet, phone, whatever it is that you have, you are able to then utilize to log on to the Gaming Hub. You also need just 14 megabytes of data to get started. So that is how much the game actually requires. It's less than this. We are trying to get it at 0 rated, but we're not there quite yet. But right now, it's just the minimum ask of 14 megabytes, not gigabytes, megabytes to get started. And then they can also download the game, like I said, onto their devices. But the fun part about this is they're also able to actually play the game offline. So no internet is required once they are actually in the Gaming Hub and have loaded the game. From there, they're able to then switch off their data. If it is a data concern, it's just a matter of making sure that they are actually inside the game. And what happens is they can play the game offline, and an offline version can actually save as long as it's on the same device that they are playing from. So you can, the Gaming Hub remembers whether you played the session on the Gaming Hub or on your on the internet, and it's able to then display where it is that you can actually continue, and you can make those choices for yourself. So yeah, registration is really, really simple. We encourage you to register as many of your learners as possible before the 31st of July, which is the end of the challenge itself. And we will speak to what those dates actually look like and what you need to communicate within your schools themselves. But yeah, we've simplified registration, and we look forward to seeing more and more of your learners participating this year. And now I am going to hand over to Candice, who's going to take you through additional offerings that we have at AGEC this year.
Hello, champion teachers. So excited to be in the room with you today. My name is Candice Jacobs. I'm the Learning Experience Analyst on the team. So Aretha just took you online. I'm going to grab you and we're going to go offline. As Pabalo mentioned, we are cognizant of the fact that not all students have the resources required to maybe support an online game. And so what we've done is we have 3 offerings for you that still shares the same entrepreneurial education, but in a manner that doesn't require you to have devices devices or connectivity. So the first one of those is our business club. Super exciting. It is an extracurricular for your learners after school. There are 6 sessions, and what makes this a very unique extracurricular is all sessions have games that can be played. And what's great about them is, as I mentioned, none of them have a dependency on technology, so they're available through PDFs that you will download. Once you are in the gaming hub, you will see there is a tab called Business Clubs. If you go in there, the first session gives you a guide as well as a poster, all the information that you need to know about how to run the clubs, which learners are ideal to get involved, as well as the different games that will be played. What we've done this year is each session unlocks. And so you start with the first one and then move to the next one until you've completed all 6 sessions with your learners. It's for all grades, 8 to 12. And we encourage that you don't necessarily stick to just commerce learners, because you never know where you're going to find an entrepreneur. So we're looking for those learners who are curious and look at the world in a different lens, who see an opportunity and want to solve for it. And what the clubs do is they're going to help build confidence and communication skills, because we realize learners have wonderful ideas, but they often struggle to articulate, or they lack the confidence to articulate those ideas. There's lots of creative and critical thinking taking place, lots of teamwork and collaboration. Great entrepreneurs usually don't travel the road alone. So we like to emphasize the importance of communicating effectively within teams, and also giving them some exposure to real world business thinking, as well as getting them enthusiastic and excited to explore their own ideas, hopefully then entering our business pitching competition where we can see them and showcase the brilliant ideas that they have. So just to recap, you can find it on the Gaming Hub under the tab Business Clubs. Everything will be there for you to understand how these clubs should be run. Our next offering for you is our lesson plan. So teachers really enjoy the game and want to take it to learners, but often struggle with integrating it into the curriculum because they've got their ATP, the outcomes that need to be achieved for the year already set. What we have done is we've managed to create lesson plans that are CAPS aligned. So they focus on particular outcomes that learners would have to do within the classroom space, tie it into the online game and some learning taking place there, and then the two things merge, and the lesson is useful in giving us new spin on how learning can take place within a classroom. And so we've got EMS grade 8 and 9, life orientation for grades 10, 11, and 12, looking at careers and career choices. We want entrepreneurship to be seen as a viable economic pathway, not just a side hustle, not just a survival option, but something you can do long term that has longevity. And then we've launched business studies, grade 10, 11, and 12, with specific links. And this year, we're very excited to say we've got accounting, grades 8 to 12. So what the session follows is a concept introduction where you spark that thinking. We then play the game, and afterwards there are questions tied in, as I mentioned, linking to the curriculum. The last one we have is our Startup Shuffle. So the idea behind the Startup Shuffle is that learners who might not have access to the online game can still get the same kind of entrepreneurial thinking going, but in a card format. So we looked at 4 categories to being a successful entrepreneur. And we said to ourselves, you need to have great problem solving skills. You need to be an innovator. You also need excellent networking skills. And lastly, who you are as a person is just as important as what you're doing within your business. And within these categories, there are different prompts that have the learners thinking through things like, if you're starting a business and you have a snack idea, can you pitch that in 60 seconds? If we're looking at some of the issues we're facing, crisis of access to water, or things like poverty, what are some ways you can solve for that? And so with these prompts, learners get to have some ideas generated. There's critical thinking involved. They have to make decisions under pressure. And once again, just more of that confidence in communicating comes through in the gameplay. What's exciting is you can use it within your classroom. We've had teachers use it as a prompt at the end of a lesson for 5 minutes. They just pick a prompt and have a learner speak to it. That's a nice way to end a lesson. They're also a part of our business clubs. In session 3 is where you will use the Startup Shuffle Lite, the version Pabalo mentioned, which is a quick and easy 4-page back-to-back PDF. And then what's lovely about it is it can also work in activations, where if you have a group of learners who are like, what's this thing that's entrepreneurship? It's a great way to introduce it to them in a low stakes environment where we can all play in teams. So I'm hoping all of that's got us very excited, available on our gaming hub underneath our business clubs plans in session 3. I'm going to hand over to Homotso. Oh, sorry, one more slide. Your role as a teacher is to introduce AGEC within the classroom. It's to get learners registered and hyped up, encourage their participation in a business club, which hopefully you will host, and then to support engagement as they ask these questions. Great entrepreneurs are curious, so they will come to you with questions, and we're hoping that you can be encouraging and give them further places to explore entrepreneurship. So our resources are our lesson plans, the Startup Shuffle, as well as these business clubs. I'm going to hand over to Homotso. She's repping us from EBN. Thank you so much. You're muted. We cannot hear you.
Oh, my apologies. Thank you, Candice. Good afternoon to all the teachers, and thank you for joining us. My name is Khomotso Mokhehle, and I'm the project officer for AGEC in Eswatini, Botswana, and Namibia. So I will be taking you through, I'm not sure if the slides are aligned, because what's showing on my side is not. Can anyone confirm if my slide is showing? Perfect. Just give me a second. Apologies. So I will be taking you through how to get started. It's quite easy. So getting started, you just go to the entrepreneurshipchallenge.com. That's our gaming hub where everything is. Then you register or log in. You can register as a teacher. If you're a teacher under your country, it will guide you. You can register with a cell phone number, an email address, or a Google account. Once you visit the gaming hub. And then secondly, you can introduce AGEC to your learners. So you just share it with them, tell them the exciting opportunities, tell them about the prize money available, and then you can help them sign up. It's quite easy. So you just guide them on how to register, similar to how you registered, but they would just register as a high school learner, school, country, and so forth. And then they can set up their own learner profile. They can verify their account in order to have access to the leaderboard. So that would just be if they register with a cell phone number, they click to verify the account, then they'll get an OTP SMS sent to them, and then they put in that SMS OTP pin onto the gaming profile, which will allow them then to be verified, have access to the leaderboard, and just continue playing for the rest of the gaming season. So then you can also allow them to play either between lessons if there's chance, maybe there's a free period or there's a computer lesson if you want to do something fun with that, because the game is only 30 minutes and can take less than 30 minutes. So we do encourage teachers to encourage learners to play during break time or during school periods if possible, as well as at home. So we just want you to know that you're fully supported. You're not in this alone. If ever you need us, we are here for you. We have ready-to-use lesson plans that you can incorporate in your lessons, that you'll also find on the gaming hub that you can print out and distribute and use. It's easy to plug in, and there's no extra prep needed. You can also guide them on how to play the game with step-by-step how-to guides also available for the teachers on our hub. We also have a video that clearly explains how the game works that you can also play for them. It's very easy to onboard the learners, but should you face any difficulties, you're welcome to send us a WhatsApp to our help desk support, and we can get in touch or email us to the email address provided, info@entrepreneurshipchallenge.com. Also to follow our WhatsApp channel, because there we would have regular updates and reminders about the game and what is happening, so you can stay in the loop for that. And we also encourage a flexible environment, whether it's through business clubs or during class. That can be done during short sessions. So just the fact that you start small and just make a difference. You can start with a small group, you can start with a class, set weekly check-ins with your learners and just celebrate small wins, encourage them to participate, encourage consistency and not perfection, encourage them to also take part in the business pitch competition. Just all of the resources we provide really help the learners gain skills and little competencies on entrepreneurship, how to lead, how to start a business, how to manage people, in the long run can lead to great success. Thank you. I'll now hand over to Olivia.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see everyone online today. I'm going to be talking through, I don't want to say the most important thing, but certainly one of the important things you'll be interested in, which is around the prizes. So you'll see that we offer prizes across some of our AGEC activities. So we offer for our high school game, our business pitch competitions, as well as to our top school taking part in the AGEC movement this year. And so for our high school game, you'll see that we have 75,000 Rand up for grabs, and that's to our top 10 performing high school learners in our high school game, the Fast Food Frenzy. Then you'll see for the business pitch competition for our learners, we've got 80,000 Rand up for grabs, and that's shared across our top 3 learners. Then, as we said, we've got our business pitch competition for teachers that was introduced this year, which we're very excited about. And you'll see that there is 50,000 available in total there, going to top 2 teachers in each of the categories that we have for that pitch. And then we also award and recognize our top school. And so there's also 45,000 up for grabs over there. You'll note that there are some sort of structural differences across the South Africa and the EBN region as well. But this is to give us a sort of overview of what prizes look like. And then importantly, I've seen some questions in the chat just around dates. So the campaign and the sort of gameplay season, so to speak, is currently live. It went live in April, and that runs until the end of July. So that gives students and teachers this period of time to engage with all the different activities of AGEC, whether that's the online game or the business pitch competition, our lesson plans. It's sort of to give a good window of opportunity to engage in those different activities. You'll note that for our pitches, for teachers and learners, and for our quest submissions, and in the high school game itself, that really does come to a close at the end of July. So pitches, for example, have to be submitted, and then we go into a process of reviewing those. And then similarly, the high school game closed, the competition itself, that period closes at the end of July. So we want to have learners play the game as many times as possible before then. You'll then note, and what my colleagues have mentioned, is just the summit, which we hold each year. So the summit itself happens in October. So between the end of sort of game season at the end of July until October, we're reviewing our different pitches and getting all our prizes and things together. And then really the October event itself is an opportunity to celebrate learners and schools and teachers who took part in the game. And it culminates in a sort of pitches from our top pitches. So yeah, that just gives us an overview of our timelines. I'll hand back over to Aretha.
Thank you so much, Olivia. So yeah, we hope to see you all at the summit this year. There's a lot of exciting things that take place in that room. You don't want to miss it. We just thought we'd give you a snippet of what it looks like. Some of you have actually been present in this room before, have come into a summit to help celebrate some of your top learners. Some of you were actually being recognized yourselves as teachers, who were the top teachers available that year, from the amount of learners you managed to register and make sure actually completed gameplay. We want to see you. We want to recognize you. This is a fully paid for event. When we are actually flying you in for this event, these are expenses that we do cover ourselves as a program. We just want you there. We want you in the room. We want to recognize you. And so there is so much celebration and so much inspiration that takes place at the AGEC Summit. And we hope that the people in this room, with the advantage of actually coming in, engaging with us, being able to really understand how to actually integrate this amazing, incredible program into your classrooms and your schools as well, have the advantage to actually be able to then come through and enjoy the festivities with us. We love this event. Learners love this event. Our teachers love this event. And we hope to see as many of you in this session as possible. So will you be there in this year? Actually, it's not next year. Will you be there this year to celebrate AGEC with us? And you don't want to miss out, because this year is a big one. We are celebrating 10 years of AGEC, a major milestone for us as well. And we want you to be there, be a part of it. This evening is about you guys. It's about celebrating all the milestones that we've actually made along the way. And yeah, we wouldn't be here without you guys, without your presence, without your resilience, and the ways in which you push your learners to achieve the best in themselves, as well as yourselves as teachers to pioneer the space in entrepreneurship when there is no particular curriculum around that right now, even though that is something that's being worked on. But we appreciate you being the pioneers in the space, and we want to celebrate you that evening. And so I'm just going to move on to our Share Your Stories initiative. You in the room, we really want to hear your voices. We want to hear how you've actually integrated AGEC into your classrooms. This is a major year for us. Like I said, it's 10 years of sparking entrepreneurial interest. And like we said, we actually saw those learners earlier on the presentation about how amazing their journeys have actually been, how they've grown, the fact that they are actually in other initiatives that are offered around the Alan Gray Orbis Foundation. Your learners have multiple opportunities to actually be able to grow themselves as individuals and receive support the more that they engage and the more that they actually understand about the program. So we really want you in the room to be able to understand as much as possible so you're able to relate it to them. But we also want people to be able to hear from you specifically. If you've been with us from the beginning, please, we want to hear your voices. We want you to share your stories. Please share your stories. Pablo will actually share a link in the chat right now where you can actually share your stories that you have from your classrooms, whether it be if you are running one of the business clubs at your schools. Please tell us what that experience has actually been like for you. If you're introducing it for the first time ever this year, we also want to hear your story. Please let us know how it's actually going, how your learners are actually interacting with the program and with the contents of the program, what you like, what you dislike, anything that's worth noting, as well as what your teachers feel and think about the program in itself. Part of this year it's also about you guys. So please tell us how you're also experiencing the business pitch challenge. What challenges are you facing yourself, or are you running a business yourself as a teacher? So you're also able to then be an example to the learners that are within your classrooms, as well as to other teachers who are looking to venture into the same spaces that you are occupying. So share your stories. If you do not have access to the link that's actually in the chat now, we are going to be able to share it post the session with you, so you are able to then share that feedback. And then if you cannot wait for some reason, or maybe super excited to actually just share your story, it is available from the website. You can click on the website that we were speaking to, which is theentrepreneurshipchallenge.com. You can visit the website and scroll down to the share your stories part and be able to click the form and fill it with any details that you wanted to share. If you have fun pictures that you also wanted to share with us and you want us to feature on our social media stories, we will be doing a lot of shout outs, really highlighting you, the actual program participants and recipients, and be able to showcase what the true experience has been, and really celebrate you guys throughout the year as well. So please share your special moments with us. You can send us an email if you actually do have attachments to your share your stories, like images you wanted to maybe share, whether it's prototypes learners have built, whatever the case is that you'd like to highlight, or the business clubs actually live in effect. We want to see them, we want to celebrate them, and we want to recognize that impact together. And so now Thank you for actually listening in on this entire session. We are now moving on to the Q&A portion of events, and we are asking now that if you do have any questions right now at this point that maybe you've popped in through the chat, the entirety of the team, I'm going to invite all the AGEC team members to be on camera right now as well, and then we are going to take your questions live as we go. So if you do have any questions that came up for you, please share. No question is too small. No ideas or insights are too small. We truly want to hear what you think about this year, or anything that you feel like is a bottleneck in areas that you have foreseen where we can actually highlight or be able to, what's it called? Assist you with in this particular session, so you're able to have that onboarding take place a lot better in your classrooms. So I'll open up to Q&A. I don't know if anything's been popping up in the chat as yet, but what we can do from this point is, if you do have a question, you can just raise a digital hand and unmute and speak, or you are able to then just pop that question through in the chat and we'll be able to see to it. And if you don't have a question and it's more so of a statement, those are welcome as well. Please let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you're thinking and feeling. Over to you. Our teachers, so I'm not sure if there are any hands up already. No hands up means we did such a phenomenal job, and like everybody understands what's going on and we're all on the same page about how to run this, and you know, all the tools that we need. Is that what I'm getting from the room?
Everyone's
Or
also
were the
going to
questions
host
already
the
answered?
business club.
Right. Okay, so we'll just give it a few more minutes. Okay. Okay, so CJ, that one's for you. Can you guys elaborate more on business clubs? How is it structured? Can a class of 15 students join at once?
Excellent question. So in terms of our business clubs, they will be hosted by the teacher who is going to facilitate the gameplay within those sessions. We recommend a minimum of 10 students and a maximum of 25, because you will be playing games. It can get very exciting and a little bit rowdy. So if the room is too big, you will struggle with facilitating that. So 15 students from one class is brilliant. And there are 6 sessions. They are 60 minutes long, so an hour after school. And yeah, I don't know if that answers the question or if there is a follow-up to it. Please unmute. We are very friendly. Okay, I'm going to take it as question answered.
Sorted. Okay, fantastic. Any other questions with registration maybe, or any of the program offerings, quests, or the lesson plans perhaps? Just take a few more seconds. Who is running the clubs?
So the clubs will be hosted by a teacher at the school. Last year, we had an interesting approach from one of our teachers that delegated a matric student to run the club and found a lot of success that way as well. So if you are overcapacitated, a learner may also host the clubs. But I think it's a really fun opportunity for the teacher to engage with learners in a way that's not traditionally textbook heavy, and with a focus on entrepreneurship, not always sports or cultural extracurricular activities. So it's really to engage your learners who have their entrepreneurial mindsets activated already and are more curious on how they can strengthen that skill set. How do we access lesson plans? So lesson plans can be accessed on our website underneath the tab that says resources. And in terms of accessing the material for our business clubs, when you log onto the Gaming Hub, there is a tab at the top that says business clubs, and all sessions can be unlocked in that manner. Okay, in terms of the lesson plans and subjects, so currently we've got grade 8 and 9 EMS with a link to entrepreneurship as the topic. We have 10, 11, and 12 life orientation, and the link there is careers and career studies, and business studies grade 10, 11, and 12 with separate links tying in strongly to the gameplay that happens with our online game. And this year we are launching our accounting lesson plans, again, taking particular elements, like, for example, calculating profit margins and figuring out with an example from the game where you set your selling price, what is that profit markup percentage? So each lesson is linked to a CAPS aligned outcome for the learners. Accounting should be up in the next week or so. Please be patient with us. We're getting our final designs in. You should have them next week. We will let you know via email.
So another question that came up saying, so we get material to share, and correct, you do get materials to actually share. We will be able to share things like posters, flyers that you can actually put up in your classrooms as well, things that help learners maybe explain how the game actually runs, what they need to do to get started, just so it's easier for you to be able to then run the sessions, have learners actually be able to guide themselves through the process as well. We also have a how-to series, so you will be able to see things like how to change your grade on the platform. So for those of you that have returning learners, so that they're able to actually keep those kinds of details up to date and they're not being disqualified at the end of the competition because their profile says one thing, however, their details say another. If they're submitting and they're saying that they're currently in grade 12, but their profile still says grade 9, it's those minor details that we look at when we are actually trying to validate whether or not this is a real individual that's playing and this is not false. So you will have all those materials as well that help guide you throughout those processes or steps. And then I saw another question that said, Love Umgeni does lessons for adults. Would the adults be able to participate as a teacher? Is this for lesson plans specifically? But maybe CJ, you can go. So
if we could just have a little more clarity on the question, I'm a bit confused.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
Lauren,
so
can hear you.
Lavamgani, it's a NGO and they educate adults who work on like a token exchange for whether it's groceries, clothes, lessons. They've been teaching sewing, all sorts of things, and they're introducing new opportunities to teach. So I was just wondering if something like that, they're not an official school, but would they be able to adopt this to be able to use it as a lesson for their entrepreneurial opportunities?
You want to go for it, Rudy, or should I?
Yeah, you can go for it.
Okay, so definitely, because the resources are freely available, we really do encourage whichever mediums you can get the information out there to do so, right? If it is with learners within the classrooms, if it is an external space with adults, I think there is a lot of value in what the sessions do. And what's great about them is that they're all game based. So when you're playing and you're having fun, you don't necessarily realize there's learning involved. And so it almost tricks the mind into catching these concepts in a way that's not boring TED talk or something like that. So yes, the material is available. One person just has to access it through our gaming hub, and all the sessions can be used in that manner.
I think maybe just one note and sort of a caveat, I suppose, is really, obviously from our side and from a sort of game development perspective, we do design it for a high school learner. And so while it's freely available, it is obviously pitched at that level, but it is accessible to anyone should they want to engage in it.
Okay, then the next question, I hope that's answered. If not, Lauren, please feel free to have a follow-up question to that, and we will be happy to help. And then I did see the next question was, hold on. So it was so the teacher can play the games and do the pitching in July together with the learners. And so, yeah, so the teacher can play the game, but they cannot play the game competitively. So the competition is only available to learners for the high school game. However, teachers are able to play the game to be able to see what their learners are actually being exposed to, or you can even run it as a challenge across teachers in your own school and be able to see how each of you fare in the competition in itself. For us, we do that pretty often internally where we play amongst each other and it becomes an internal competition. It's pretty competitive around here. So it brings out that same spirit of competitiveness that it does in learners as well as in adults. You are able to play it, but you are not able to play it for prizes or for featuring on the leaderboard. However, for the business pitch challenge, yes, that is a definite yes. Teachers are actually able to play that game in its entirety, and you are able to then submit that challenge before the date of the 31st of July. So we encourage that once you actually do have the brief in your hand, start now materializing your idea and making sure that you are submitting it before that particular deadline if you are looking to get prizes for your submissions as well. So yes, for the business pitch, no to the high school game in terms of competitions. I hope that answers your question. That one was from Heleni. And then just checking, can the learners who won last year win again this year? Absolutely. So absolutely. It's a competition. So similar to anything in life, if you are applying yourself and you just so happen, kind of like, did a learner who got a distinction last year, can they get a distinction this year? It's one of those kinds of things where it's like, it's a yes, depending on how they actually apply themselves. So if they apply themselves, there are new twists and turns in the game. Like we said, it's not the exact version that we had last year. And so they would have to apply themselves, see how they're able to then hack this particular version of the game and see if they're able to then rise to the rankings on the leaderboard again this year. May or may not be the case. But like I said, also, please make sure to pair their high school game participation with the quests so that they improve their odds of actually being able to walk away as a winner this year, because that's a really critical element to whether or not they'll actually end up being one of the top players in the year. But short answer, yes, absolutely. Let's see. Okay, is this
Sorry, just before you answer that question that's popped up, I just wanted to add that for our accounting teachers in the room, with our business clubs, the 6th session is actually accounting focused. So we established that one of the big problems learners are having is understanding the accounting equation, classifying the accounts and categorizing them across assets, liabilities, etc. So we've created a game that works almost like a snap card game to help reinforce those categories very quickly. So if you are an accounting or commerce teacher, there's a lot of value in exploring the business clubs, and session 6 is your golden nugget. Carry on, Ree. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll ask one more. There's another question, and then yeah, I think we'll just allow for 1 or 2 more questions to pop up before we close. But there's a question that says, for the teachers, does it only apply to ideas or can we have an MVP? And so I just want to understand does it only apply to ideas in the sense of prizes, or are we talking prizes or competition? Competition. Okay, so does it only apply to ideas? Yeah, so the competition is only for the pitching competition. That is where teachers are able to then participate and be able to then give their ideas for prizes. However, we don't have any other challenges outside of that. But we do have things like the top schools being recognized. We also have some recognition in the business clubs categories as well, where we do recognize those teachers and their efforts in integrating entrepreneurial knowledge into their classrooms as well. So it's things like that. Then we have additional offerings that we'll be able to then further communicate to our teachers this year. We are working on making sure that there is more value for you this year around as well. We understand that growth isn't just for learners, it's also for teachers in the space. We really want to make sure that we're also recognizing you guys, making sure that we are putting forth opportunities for growth, opportunities for networking for you as well. So please keep your eyes peeled on your emails or our WhatsApp channel, where we are going to be able to communicate what else is available for you with regards to prizes or competitions or events to attend or those kinds of things. So yeah, you want to just make sure that you're keeping track of those communications this year around. And then see, we have the last two questions, which are, do we have a dedicated contact that we can call or email if we have questions after the presentation? Also the business clubs, what unlocks the sessions? So I'll answer the first question, and then CJ, if you can just answer the second. But do we have a dedicated contact that we can call or email if we have questions or presentations? Actually, let me just forward that question to Pabalo. Maybe you can just address that one.
Yes, you can email info@the Entrepreneurship Challenge, as well as WhatsApping the WhatsApp number, which will be shared later, and as well as the help the bot on our website. So from there, we'll be able to redirect your question. For example, business clubs will be able to redirect it to Candice, or any question to the appropriate person. So yeah.
But just to add on those contact details, they are also currently on the screen at present. And so you are able to then see them too at the bottom there, where you can see the WhatsApp number and you can see the email account, as well as the website that you can also visit for more information. But we will be sharing these details with you after the session as well. CJ, the second question over to you, and thanks, Pavi. CJ, it's also is the business clubs in the business clubs, what unlocks the sessions?
Okay, so just to reiterate, with sessions unlocking, all we require is just a little bit of feedback, literally less than 5 minutes, just so you can rate the session and say what you enjoyed, what your learners enjoyed, or maybe where we could make improvements. And then in terms of getting more information, for the teachers who are interested, we do have a cohort of testers, so to speak. If you are willing to host a business club and you want a bit of a closer relationship, please feel free to leave your email and I can add you to that specific network where we will be testing out more business club ideas as well as more information around accounting. So if you would like that, please feel free.
Yeah. And then I will position the last question to maybe someone from EBN, either Homotso, maybe Homotso actually. How many teachers are responsible per school?
So we usually try. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Awesome. We usually try to get as many teachers on board. Usually we even have a teacher that we call a teacher ambassador, sort of, that would then lead the challenge. But as many teachers as they want to be involved, we're welcome to work with them. It doesn't only have to be entrepreneurship teachers. Whichever teachers are ready and able to involve, to champion, we call them champions, teacher champions, to champion AGEC and want the best interest for the learners.
Thank you, Homotso. Okay, so I think we are going to adjourn here. If you have any further questions for us, the whole team, then you are able to then share those to those emails that we were speaking on earlier, which is info@theentrepreneurshipchallenge.com. We will be following up with an email after this where we share the video, the recording of the session, as well as the slide decks that you guys have seen today and any additional content, especially with regards to those briefs for the teacher competitions, just so you are able to see what next steps you can take and if that's something you'd like to venture into and be able to challenge yourself with. But as we wrap up, I just wanted to say a really really big thank you to all of you for showing up, engaging, investing in your learners, especially in their entrepreneurial journeys. We can't thank you enough. We truly believe that the work that you guys are doing in your classrooms and your schools has really been impactful. And we can see that impact, guys, the amazing stories that we're seeing from learners who have participated in AGEC over the years. The growth is beautiful to see. And so AGEC is here to support and amplify your voices, celebrate the work that you guys are doing alongside you. So you'll receive the next steps and the key resources after this. And so please keep an eye out for that. But we'd love to see you, especially at that summit event, and your learners getting involved, taking on challenges, and sharing your stories and growing your communities. Thank you again for your time and your energy today. We thank you from the AGEC team. We appreciate you, and we are excited for this journey. And until next time, thanks a lot. Bye.